Into Belcar. Right now, buy any new car in stock and receive $500 worth of genuine accessories.
Yes, yes!
Belcar hosts Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Fiat, Alfa Romeo and more. So, you'll still find the right car at the right deal.
Oh, yes, yes!
They've also got great deals on used cars too.
Yes!
You can have what she's having, only at Belcar, Glen Osmond Road, Frueville and Northeast Road, Walkerville. Be quick, offer only until December 30. Some conditions apply.
It's that time of day again, when a little rumble in your tummy reminds you that...
What's for dinner, Mum?
How about some delicious, juicy, so tender pork from KR Castlemaine? It really is so tender and cooks perfectly every time for everything from a hearty roast to a simple stir fry. Plus, it's 100% Australian and supports our farmers. So there really is only one answer to get them saying,
Yum, Mum.
KR Castlemaine's so tender pork.
Available from selected supermarkets.
The Crows Foundation is the independent charity arm of the Adelaide Footy Club, and since 2005 we've donated more than $750,000 to children in need in South Australia. As chairman, I'm proud to announce that in season 2013 the foundation will pledge a further $100,000 to selected South Australian children's charities. We're now calling for submissions from relevant charities to apply for this funding and to be recognised as the official charity of the Adelaide Crows for next season. For all details, go to the Crows Foundation website. Submissions close on the 21st of December. The Crows Foundation, proudly sponsored by 1395 Adelaide's 5AA.
Interactive radio. Email on air at 5AA.com.au. Peter Godfrey.
18 minutes past 5. Let's head to New Zealand as we do on a Thursday morning. Selwyn Manning from livenews.co.nz. How are you, Selwyn?
Yeah, very good, Peter.
What's the temperature over there at the moment? Is it a bit cooler there? We're sweltering a bit here.
Yeah, no. If you want to cool down, I'd say, and you don't want to put your head in the nesky, you come over here. We're looking for a high in Auckland of around about 22 degrees today.
Oh, heck. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we got 38, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
It takes a mind shift to kind of try to imagine it.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's get on to some hot negotiations that have just concluded, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement negotiations. Now, first, there's a number of nations being involved in this, including Australia and New Zealand. Yeah,
Australia, New Zealand, Chile, Singapore, host of Southeast Asian nations, and the United States and Canada. Now, the big issue that is coming out of this is that the United States is very much playing hardball over giving away access to its markets. That's one point, and other things relating to IP rights, where the United States, if we looked at just the pharmaceutical area, the United States pharmaceutical industry is saying, it wants to extend its right to patent, so its intellectual property rights to various drugs for an extra 10 years beyond the standard 20. And what that means in Australia and New Zealand terms is Australia and New Zealand officials have been trying to resist this. They've been trying to talk up the ability of their own pharmaceutical kind of government-controlled bodies that purchase drugs all around the world for our, for medicines for all of us, and that in Australia is the benefits scheme, and in New Zealand it's Pharmac. Mm-hmm. And what happens there is they look around and they think, okay, we need these kind of drugs here. These ones coming from the United States, well, they're very, very, very expensive. The cost will go down once they've been around for 20 years. Then we'll look for generic drugs where other countries are kind of producing these same drugs, basically just a different name, because the patent's been lifted on them. The United States wants to extend that, so that'll have a huge impact. Now, what we're hearing is from, for example, on the weekend, the New Zealand Nurses Organisation put out a statement saying it was very, very concerned about this particular thing. Remember, we're just talking one area of pharmaceuticals here, and it's saying that the Trans-Pacific Partnership Chief Negotiator for New Zealand, a guy called David Walker, would not rule out supporting stronger intellectual property protections for big business in the United States if that negotiation was going to give some benefits back. And what they're talking about is Australia and New Zealand really trying to get access to the United States agricultural market, so all our dairy products and things this side of the ditch, getting access to the United States. Now, that's being resisted by the United States. So that's pretty much where it is. The concerns are being heightened by the day, by the degrees, Peter, over this side of the ditch.
So essentially, if I understand that correctly, so what the issue is the negotiation to try to get access for primary producers there and here into the US, but the US is saying no, but we still want to put up, extend the control on those pharmaceuticals. So we won't have the export markets, and we'll have bigger pharmaceuticals. That's the problem.
Very well summarised there. The problem is that all the negotiations, so you've got teams of negotiators from 11 different countries that are a part of this Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Agreement. Now, it's all in secret. So no one is able to sit in there and actually report back the accuracy of where they are on those debates. What we get is a little bit of a filtering coming out, and these are the concerns that are coming out. New Zealand, although New Zealanders in general were polled on this issue, and they were concerned that New Zealand would embrace this free trade agreement. It looks like it is. And that the consequences would be severe on New Zealand. It also, at the moment, it gives the right of those countries and their industry. So if we just looked at that pharmaceutical area, remember this is a very broad agreement, they have the right to sue your government if we, as governments, changed the rules of engagement at any time. So that's another big concern. So, for example, if with your mining industry, New Zealand's kind of looking at its own kind of areas and industry in that area as well. If we changed the terms of engagement for overseas mining interests, and they felt that they were going to suffer financially at a cost of the change in regulation, then they'd have the right to sue or to seek litigation to prepare to sue.
Okay, so it doesn't seem to be much in it for either of us.
Well, yeah, although everybody's wanting a slice of the pie, so there must be something in it, but, it's difficult from outside that inner secret circle to actually figure out what it is.
All right. Now, these talks themselves have ended, so...
this round.
What happens next? When's the next?
Okay, so now there's another round offshore in April. Now, President Obama, the United States President, he is saying that he wants these concluded by October next year, 2013. There's concerns that should they... because APEC is right behind it. You've got Obama and all the other leaders, the Australian Prime Minister, ours, et cetera, all around the APEC table, that they go into a side room and Obama says to them, come on now, let's do this deal, and that there would be a momentum to sign, irrespective of some of the more negative consequences that are being imposed on various countries. So that's where it is. Okay. The concerns are still alive. The relatively bland, what these statements are like coming out of the negotiating teams once these things conclude, usually generic and very bland, but within that blandness you could pick up the concerns, those things that we just alluded to just in this bulletin, are certainly still concerns that are alive, and doesn't seem that there's been a breakthrough by the officials, on behalf of the officials.
All right, on to other matters, and Kiwis have got a fairly hefty bank card bill to pay back after the visit by Prince Charles and Camilla recently. Best part of $750,000 and a little bit more.
That's the Kiwi side of it. You guys have got to pay and foot up for a big part of the bill too. Yeah, that's quite right. So the question was, how much did you enjoy the royal visit by Prince Charles and Camilla, and was it worth the cost? So Kiwis...
They had a couple of hours here. That's about it.
Well, maybe they were thinking they'd offset it by a good flutter at the Melbourne Cup. I saw Prince Charles and Camilla enjoying that kind of outing, but maybe it didn't come in for them. But yes, so it started really as soon as they left England. As soon as the Royals left England, New Zealand and Australian governments, they shared the return cost of commercial airfares from London to Singapore, and then the Australian Air Force, I think, picked them up from Singapore and took them to Australia. New Zealand Air Force, when they were leaving Australia, it kind of left New Zealand, went and picked them up from Canberra, brought them to Auckland, and then shuttled them around the country and went to Christchurch. And from Christchurch, that's where they exited the country. They were taken back to Singapore, and then our governments paid for their return flight back to England again. So that in itself was worth a fair bit, apparently. But then on top of that, we had to pay for 15 staff from their own palace to come over and look after them. There were members of, apparently the London Metropolitan Police actually met their own costs of personal protection for the couple. But yeah, New Zealand's contribution to the cost of the wonderful visit was $776,000. And I suppose a lot of people are starting to think, well, okay, well, what do we get from that apart from some women's magazines been, getting a lot of cover shots and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, they would have been enjoying it for sure. That was one group of people that would have.
Yeah.
Is that question coming up about a republic or anything like that?
I think that's what's on everyone's lips. The elephant in the room. I know in Australia there's been a few talks around this republicanism idea again, and I suppose this kind of thing kind of gives it a little bit of fuel for the engine, doesn't it?
It does, but then the affection that everyone seems to feel for Wills and Kate seems to almost push it back a bit the other way. So it's certainly an interesting one.
It's an emotive one, isn't it?
Yeah, but then New Zealand's sort of almost pushing the charge for the succession laws to be changed, so that if a little princess comes along, she can be third in line.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
It seems
as well.
ridiculous that if you're a female, you can't kind of have the same kind of shot as what you would if you're a male, doesn't it, in this day and age? And the other thing, I think, in New Zealand, there are complexities around whether or not, if New Zealand went toward a republic, what does it do with the Treaty of Waitangi? It's a bicultural agreement between Māori and the Crown. So there's kind of complexities into our order here, our legal order, if you like. But at the same time, I know that the Helen Clark-led government was kind of not aggressively pushing the issue like Paul Keating was in Australia all those years ago, but it was certainly kind of leading that way. Like when the Queen was over, Helen Clark wore slacks instead of a dress, like was the protocol. And during the toast, she made sure she stood up before the Queen did. And things like that, and it was noted. But she didn't reach those dizzy heights like Paul Keating did by putting his hand on the back of the Queen and ushering along.
Yes, we still feel the embarrassment of that one.
All right,
Selwyn, thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll catch you again next Thursday.
Okay, Peter.
Cheers, bye-bye. Selwyn Manning in New Zealand. Head to livenews.co.nz for more news from that part of the world. 5:28 and